Hey, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money, and let's get right into it. Before we start today's episode, I want to say my heart goes out to the families and relatives in Texas. I believe over the past week there was a massive flooding that devastated and killed close to 80 people, including a large amount of kids that was attending a camp, summer camp, and things like that. So my prayers go out to everybody out there, and hope all is well with out there. And my prayers go out to you and the family members as well. I know it's a devastating time. I know it's a time where it is, a lot of weather. I was under the weather for the past couple of days due to, it's been severe weather here in South Florida. And I've been under the weather, so I know what it is. So my hearts and prayers go to all y'all out there. Let's get into this episode. Today I want to talk about something that I know you people are talking about, and for you people that are not in Florida, that are not here in South Florida, you probably don't know about this. Let's talk about alligator alcatraz. Oh my God, there's been a lot of controversy behind this. For y'all that doesn't live in the state of Florida and it probably haven't hit the news to your area. There is a let me bring you back into history. Back in the 1950s, developers was developing a large airport near the Everglades here in the South Florida area near Naples and between Naples and Miami, and they was building what was supposed to be the largest airport in the United States. It was supposed to be an airport that was 3 times the size of New York's JFK's airport, and it was going to be a transportation hub between Miami and Naples and other neighboring cities with transit, an airport, monorail and stuff like that. And developers was ready to go for it and everything. They started doing construction where they built the long, I believe it's a 3-mile airstrip, probably longer than that. But there was some environmentalists and some people who protested and who lobbied because they feared that the airport would damage our ecosystem and damage the Everglades. And they pushed and pressured, and then it ended up not happening to where the facility that was supposed to be the largest airport in the United States ended up getting scrapped. And then it ended up becoming the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport. Now, at one point, back in maybe the 70s and 80s, it was a training facility for Pan Am and Eastern Airlines. For I believe there was probably training their, staff and stuff like that. It was a training facility, and it does give action because they do have planes and jet planes that go in and out of there. Because several, I believe, companies use the facility. It doesn't. It's. I'm saying now, jumping back to 2025. Governor Ron DeSantis, for most that don't know, is the governor of the state of Florida, had proposed, and it has happened, that the site of the Dade Collier Training and Transit Airport will be turned into a immigration detention center known as Alligator Alcatraz. Now, why is it called Alligator Alcatraz? Well, because number one, alligators, that's the bases around Everglades. Everglades is alligators and snakes. And because of Alcatraz, because as you know, Alcatraz, the prison that sat out there in the San Francisco Bay and everything, where that was the prison that sat out there in the water, and it was impossible for people to get to and from and escape from there. So he approved. Now this is one of two locations that he has approved for that he is building for immigration detention center. The other one is being, I was told, is I don't know the set location, but the other one is set to open in Jacksonville, Florida, in the northern part of Florida. Now, Alligator Alcatraz is supposed to be a detention center that is supposed to house over 5,000 immigrants. And the reason why he chose that location is, there are several reasons why he chose that location. Number one is because when the immigrants are brought here, they're miles and miles, like 30, 40, 50, 60 plus miles away from civilization. So if they try to escape, they have nowhere to go. And that was his thesis behind this. He was like, you have nowhere to go. There's nothing but swamp. Where are you going? You try to leave, you ain't got nothing but water and alligators and snakes and, wildlife. So, he's like, you have nowhere to go. So you're stuck here. And then another reason why is because they have an airstrip there. So when you get the tank here, in about a day or two, you walk a few feet from your, where you're at, you get on the plane and you head back to, you're being deported, and that's, that. And then not only that, it's basically the only common area he can do it at, I'm guessing. But as you know, there has been several backlashes for this, because unlike the reason, remember that I told you earlier, the reason why they halted the airport being made there, which was supposed to be the largest airport, is because they feared that it was going to damage our ecosystem and damage the everglades, and it was going to damage a lot of our wildlife. And this is the same thing that they're protesting now, because it is going to damage the ecosystem, damage the everglades. It's going to damage our wildlife, and a lot of the animals and wildlife that's out there, they need to be protected. And they feel you're building this massive detention center to where now, our wildlife is not safe. Our wildlife, because now you're damaging our ecosystem, you're damaging our wildlife, you're damaging our nature and things like that. And a lot of protests, there was protesters that was out there near Alligator Alcatraz, and recently they did a protest in front of Bayside Marketplace here in the downtown Miami area. A lot of backlash about it. And there was another backlash because on July 1st, which was last week, there were several things. President Donald Trump visited the facility because on July 1st, the Alligator Alcatraz Immigration Detention Center opened up, and President Donald Trump visited the facility, and he toured the facility, and he praised the facility, and he loved it and everything and that. And later on that day, there was 4 food trucks that entered into the facility. Kona Ice, Churromania, Miss Cheesiest, and there was another one, I don't remember the name. And most of these are like local businesses. I think Churromania might not be local, but I know Miss Cheesiest is a local business. One day I'll probably go to their restaurant and do a food review there. I know of their restaurant. It's not, and Kona Ice, I don't know if they are local business, but I know they're like a snow cone, shaved ice type business. They do like snow cones and stuff, and they have like I know they have food trucks, but I don't know if they have actual locations. And that's another thing. And they got backlash because a lot of people felt like the food trucks was promoting this detention center and things like that. And all of these businesses had to take to social media, and they had to, defend their, speak out and make a statement about this stuff. Now, let me give you my first opinion on this of myself. First of all, I don't think this is a good idea, because if you was gonna build a detention center for immigrants, yeah, I think that you're going at it the wrong way, because you're doing it in a location that is near wildlife, and that is near, because now you're damaging wildlife, you're damaging the Everglades, because now you have to, you know, remove all of this stuff, whether it's trees, land, whatever, and you're moving all of this stuff because now, you have to protect the people that are here, not only the immigrants, but the workers and the security workers, and and all of the people that are here. You have to protect them, and my feel is, because you have, not only do you have alligators and snakes, you have other wildlife. There was a video where I think they saw like little bears that was in the area and stuff like that. You have wildlife that lives out here, and now you have to protect the wildlife, and as far as protect these people. And when I saw videos of inside of this detention center, it looks like a concentration camp. It looks like, it set me back to like slavery time, to where they have bunk beds in each quarters and stuff, and it set me back, and I was like, oh my god. And I'm like, this is ridiculous how they is doing this. Like, you got this place looking like the 1950s when we was in slavery time. And even though we didn't live like that in slavery, but you had those slave quarters that set out on the plantations where they had bunk beds, and you had to have like 20-30 people in one little bedroom, and you had to have 20 and 30 people sleeping in that one little bedroom. And it was like crazy, like most of these, and I'm like, and somebody was talking about, oh, you're gonna have porta potties out here, where you're gonna dump the maneuver for the porta potties, and you gotta have kitchens, and you gotta have showers and all of this stuff, because you can't just leave these people out here and you're not feeding them, and you're not having them take showers and stuff like that. And so this is really messing up our ecosystem. This is messing up our Everglades. This is protected lands, and a lot of people are really mad about this. And then a couple of days ago, this was the sad part, and this was mad, and now they really finna go to court, because Ron DeSantis is in hot water right now, because a lot of state senates and commissioners, and not commissioners, a lot of government officials planned a trip to go visit alligator alcatraz, and was turned away from officials there, from I guess security or whatever, and they got turned away. And by law, government officials like your state representatives and people like that, they are allowed by law to go and visit it, facilities like this, detention centers, that they are by law, they can go visit these centers. If a senator wants to go and visit a detention center, or a congressman or something like that, want to go visit one of these little centers that they built up, they have the right to go visit, because they are a lawmaker. And a lot of them got, everybody that went that day, because there was a group of them, and they got turned away, and they was real upset and say yes, they are finna go to court. Because I'm like, if the president, who is our commander-in-chief, has the right to visit this facility, why these lawmakers who are making up these laws and who are out here fighting for these people's rights can't go and visit the facility? They have a right just as much as the president have the right, but you're denying them access. Why? Oh, because it's not. And then one of the reasons why is because it's not safe for the immigrants and stuff. You realize you don't have thousands and thousands of immigrants in there. You only have like maybe 100, probably less than that, of immigrants that was in there when these lawmakers came to visit. It's not like you're gonna walk the lawmakers right into the path of where these immigrants are. No, they're just gonna walk around the facility the same way Trump walked around the facility. And then you have to realize that these are the people that have to see where their taxpayer money is going to. Even though we're not paying for this, because apparently Governor Ron DeSantis say this money is supposed to come from FEMA and the federal government. But then there was a thing that said the government never approved, or lawmakers and all of this, they never approved of money to pay for this facility. And this facility is costing $450 million to create, because you have a lot of tents, a lot of trailers, and and all of this stuff out here. You have to have lightning and everything. And then there was another backlash about this facility because it rained a few days after it opened, and it was flooding inside of the tents. And they was going crazy because they was like, and then they say that this facility is supposed to withstand a Category 2 hurricane. You do realize in 1992, Hurricane Andrew was a Category 5 hurricane. So this facility can only go up to a Cat 2 storm. Why you don't have this facility ready to withstand a Cat 3, 4, or 5 hurricane? We're just now in the beginning of hurricane season, and you're telling me that this place can only withstand a Category 2 hurricane, and already with the past couple of days being a storm, it was flooding and leaking inside of this facility. So these facilities does not have 100% safe measures, because you may have security there to keep people out and to keep, and you have big old gates to protect these people from getting out and stuff like that. But you're not protecting them from wildlife. You're not protecting them from severe weather. You're not protecting them from hurricanes. You're not protecting them from Mother Nature, because this is just ridiculous. I saw the thing where it was flooding inside from the bottom and water was getting in. Now, these things, these bunkers and these bunk beds are not on, they're sitting on actual ground, like ground. It's not like you have grass or you have carpet or something under these things. You have the actual ground where these bunk beds are sitting on, and water is getting under them. So imagine if somebody have their shoes right there and the water comes up, or they have something like a pair of clothes or something on the ground next to their bunk bed. It's going to get damaged by the water, because y'all looking at it, oh yeah, we can withstand Cat 2 hurricane, but you're missing the point. You also have flooding, you also have wind. A lot of this wind is not hurricane related. I done seen times where most of the time when it rains here in South Florida, there's wind, and that wind be heavy. And if you don't have a windproof umbrella, you're screwed, because I've seen a lot of people, even including myself, who've had umbrellas that it done cost me $20, $30 for an umbrella, and it is not a windproof umbrella, and within a matter of seconds, that umbrella is torn because of the wind factor here in South Florida. And you have tents, and a lot of these tents, when it winds, those tents, they're not sturdy. You may have all the equipment to say that they are sturdy, but you realize nothing matches a hurricane. A lot of these buildings are hurricane proof that are modern day built, yes, but you have some of these buildings that cannot withstand, force like winds. You see what happened in Texas. People got killed and there was a mass flooding. Imagine if that would have happened at alligator Alcatraz, where that flooding, and they say it reaches up to like 20 feet, 26 inches of rain or whatever, and you realize your bed is only a few inches above the ground, off the ground. So that means you can be submerged into water. Now, if you on the top bunker, it might be different. But for the person who live on the bottom bunker, you might be submerged in water and killed. And then who's to blame for it? And then they're gonna look at it as if, because y'all want to put a facility out in the middle of nowhere, to where these people, yes, they can't go nowhere, and if they try to escape, they're in the middle of nowhere, and it would take them probably a day or so to get back to civilization. But at the same time, why are you doing this in an area and then they say they're supposed to be protected. They're supposed to go through court and legal, you know, things first before they can build things like this, before they can go, and build stuff like this, and they didn't. And I'm like, this is something, and that to me, it's just crazy. And then with the backlash of these food trucks that entered, and a lot of them people was talking about, and there was people talking about banning the food trucks, something. Here's my thing about that. If I had a food truck and I was called on the government to say, hey, I'll pay you $10,000 to operate your food truck at this facility, you not think I'm not going to turn down money? My political views have nothing to do with my business, because I know there's businesses like, Chick-fil-A that, they are a biblical restaurant, so, they follow the biblical sense where they're closed on Sundays and all of this stuff, and they don't support LGBTQ and all that, but my businesses, because I recently found out, and I saw this on the news, and I didn't know that Churro Mania, which is a churro company, one of the trucks there, the company was built on employing immigrant employees. So they was built by, I guess they was, it was built by immigrants, and it was founded by immigrants, and it employs immigrants, to give immigrants jobs. But my thing is, a lot of these people, just like Miss Cheesy's, I saw a statement on them, and I'm gonna read the statement to you on what Miss Cheesy has said, about this, because it's been, a lot behind it, and it's crazy. This is the statement. Miss Cheesy's food truck was approached by a disaster response company to aid and provide meals for active service members stationed at the immigration site. Contrary to misleading online narratives, our presence was not part of any celebration or grand opening, and we are not engaging in ongoing service there. And what was they saying? We was supposed to say, let's serve food for the workers that are there working to build alligator alcatraz. We do not support this situation. We do not support this what they're doing. We're just only here to make money and to supply business for them. We're giving $10,000. I don't know how much they paid them, but we're paying you $10,000 to sit here and to serve food for the workers. My political views, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to make money because I don't approve of alligator alcatraz. If you're going to give me $10,000 to serve food, I'm going to and make a statement just like Miss Cheeses did. And the other companies did a statement too. We are only here as a service. We are not supporting this ongoing situation because we may have workers that may agree, we may have workers that may disagree. Management may agree, management may disagree. But whatever our political views or whatever our views of this should not affect our business. Yes, I have a lot of views on a lot of things, but I don't sit here and I don't let it affect work or let it affect things I do, because at the same time, I look at it as if we are not here to judge any business. At one point I was like, I didn't want to eat at Chick-fil-A because I felt like they don't support LGBTQ and stuff like that and all that. And I'm like, okay, because with me as a content creator and I have a show, I can't say, I hate gay people, or I hate transgenders, or I hate white people, or I hate Chinese people, or I hate this people, or I hate that. No, because I don't have that. I can't sit up here and say, I hate Donald Trump, or I hate, Elon Musk, or I hate JD Vance. I can't say stuff like that because I'm a content creator. And for me, I know I will have backlash. I can't say I hate this person, or I hate that person, or I hate this store, or I hate this restaurant, because I will have backlash. But at the same time, yes, I have my own views on certain things, and I may express it, but at the same time, I look at it as if what I do should not affect any business or anybody else. You know, what Miss Cheesy's and all these other restaurants, you know, these Choromania and Kona Ice and the other restaurant, what they're doing is basically they're here to make money. Their views or political views should not affect them. And there was people talking about boycott the restaurant. Why boycott a restaurant that's only here to try to make money? They got called. That's just like saying you got called to the White House for a food truck event, and a lot of people hate Donald Trump, and they say boycott this restaurant because they going to support Donald Trump at the White House. No, if they call them to come cook food at the White House, let them cook food at the White House. They're there to make money. They're not there because of his political views. They're not there because of alligator alcatraz is open and you think they're supporting immigrants. No, they may not support immigrants. They're only there to make money. Who's going to turn down a $10 million, you know, or $10,000 food contract to sell food to workers? You know, $10,000, hell, that's money, you know. But there's a lot of backlash about this thing, and I'm like, you know what? A lot of these people don't get what's going on, and a lot of these people, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, because yes, alligator alcatraz, I don't like it and I don't approve of it, but at the same time, I'm not finna bash these restaurants because they're only here to do a job. They got paid to do a job. That's just like saying, you know, you're going to work for, let me give an example. You're going to work for a, you know, just like, you know, I did in my video, you know, when I talk about racist stores and racist, you know, place, and you going to a work for a store that's racist and that doesn't treat black people, but you're black, and you're going to work for them. Technically, I may not work for the company, but the company gonna pay me some good, decent money. Hey, I'm gonna go work for the company, and I'm gonna try to, you know, work within, you know. But a lot of people, they feel like, oh, because you going inside the immigration detention center, oh, you're supporting, you know, this, you know, ISIS, you know, the ISIS, the ICE, not ISIS, the ICE. Ooh, excuse me, you're supporting ICE, and you're supporting Ron DeSantis and this immigration bull crap he's doing. You're supporting alligator alcatraz. Oh, let's boycott the restaurants. No, you have to realize that these restaurants are only here to do a job, and they're getting paid to do a job. You know, I believe all of these owners, they don't approve of what's going down. They're just here because of the money. You know, I've never met a person that say they would turn down $10 million, let alone $10,000. You know, if I say I'm gonna pay you $10 million to set up a food truck at my location and feed my workers, you think I'm not gonna turn that down? I'm not gonna turn that down because you think I'm gonna turn that down because of my political views? I'm gonna say, hey, I may not approve of alligator alcatraz, but I'm gonna sure take this money and I'm gonna employ these people, and then I'm gonna go back and do a statement on my social media and say, hey, I may not approve of this situation, but hey, I got $10,000 that and I'll go and donate to a special cause or something. What do y'all think about this? What are your views of this thing of alligator alcatraz? What do you feel? Is it a good thing? Do you feel it's a bad thing? Do you approve of alligator alcatraz? Do you not approve of it? I want to know what y'all feel about this, because this is an ongoing situation, and I will be doing a follow-up story within probably the next few weeks of this, because this is still going down, and a lot of people are really having backlash because of this, and I want to know what your views of this. You know, email me, roundtable00@yahoo.com. Comment at the bottom of this page, because this is a crucial topic. And I know there are still people to this day that are still talking about this thing. And if you look up, they even created a Wikipedia alligator alcatraz. And I'm like, you know, that's where some of the resources and some of the information I get is from Wikipedia. And I also do get it from other sources as well, too. And I'm like, yo, this is... And then if you go to the Wikipedia, you know, alligator alcatraz, it shows a picture of Donald Trump on July 1st, you know, doing a tour of alligator alcatraz. And I'm like, you know what, this is just wrong. You know, you it's like you're building and Jacksonville, y'all come because they're coming for you next. If they haven't already started building one, they're going to be building it because they need a place for the northern part of Florida for them to go. And I'm like, they're getting backlash up there as well too. And I'm like, you know what, I don't know what's going down, and it's a lot going down, and this is just recruited. I personally don't like it. I'm against it. because this is taking our wildlife and our nature from us. I've never been in the Everglades. I always wanted to go on an airboat ride, which I'll probably do in the near future. But it's just one of those places where y'all gotta stop this mess. Y'all gotta stop killing our wildlife. Y'all gotta stop killing nature to create, these concoctions and these buildings and these things that don't make sense. What are y'all views and about this? Comment at the bottom of this page. Email me as well. I want to know what y'all think about this. I thank y'all for watching this. Please weigh in on this. Don't forget to click subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to check out our other videos and stuff, and we will be doing a follow-up on this. I thank y'all for watching this. I'm your host, C Money. This is Divine Table Talk. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.